Okay guys, so truth is the video that I'm about to film right now I already filmed about 3 days ago and I deleted it accidentally, so I'm a bit pissed off, but we're gonna refilm that. Refilming videos is actually one of the things I hate the most. It's very, I don't know, feels very fake when you refilm it, so sorry for that. Anyway, about a week ago, I posted on Instagram asking you guys if you had any questions for me regarding traveling. If you want to take part in those Q&As that I do sometimes, I really suggest you follow me on Instagram because that's usually where I post. Okay, so first question. What regions or cities in France are the best to travel to? So I usually get a lot of questions about France, but to be honest with you, I haven't traveled to many places in France, but from my own experience as traveling in France and also just knowing what France generally looks like, I would say that Paris is obviously on the list. I would say that Brittany and Normandy are really pretty regions, and obviously the southeast Cannes is not really amazing. A lot of people go there, but no. Nice is really beautiful. Aix-en-Provence is quite pretty as well. Marseille is not my kind of city, but it's beautiful, and Corsica is amazingly beautiful as well. So the southeast for me, Paris and Normandy and Brittany would be my recommendations. Okay, in which countries have you felt the safest as a solo female traveler? So I don't know why, but I feel like a lot of people were under the impression that I travel solo frequently. I do not. I have traveled solo 3 times, and I was actually planning or supposed to travel solo more, but twice it did not happen for different and personal reasons. But regardless of whether or not it's solo, I can definitely answer this question. Whether you're traveling solo, you're traveling with people, you're a girl, you're a boy, you're not white, you're queer, anything, I would say that Japan is definitely the safest country I've been to. And I'm not saying that Japanese society is more accepting or is not racist or anything like that, but I'm just saying you're gonna be safe. Okay, I know you've mentioned Budapest is one of your favorite places that you've been to, and as someone born there, I was curious as to what attracts you so much to the city. Is it the architecture, culture, language, or something totally different? Okay, so you might know that I really, really love Eastern Europe. It's actually probably my favorite region, like area in the world, even though I've been to Asia and I really like Asia. I really want to go to the Middle East and the north of Africa, but Eastern Europe has my heart. It's hard to explain why though. Budapest is my favorite city in the whole world. It is my favorite city, hands down. I am well aware though, before anyone jumps on me, that I am a white person, and that's probably why I felt like most people in Budapest or in Hungary were quite nice to me. I know it's not the case for people of color. And I also know that unfortunately Hungarian politics are quite shitty at the moment, but regardless of that, I think Budapest is just beautiful. It's very imposing, very impressive. It's very like the quality of the architecture, the details, the size, everything is very, very wow. And I live in Paris, so I'm used to beautiful architecture. The history, even though it's sad and heavy, I think it's very interesting, and you can definitely feel it and access it easily in the city. It's very diverse, very new, and also very ancient, very old. It's kind of edgy, it's very alive. It's just, I don't know, it's exactly the kind of city I like, and it's my favorite city. As for the language, Hungarian is so difficult, so I wouldn't say it's for the language. Okay, I'm currently learning French and will hopefully be studying abroad in France in the fall. What tips do you suggest for making friends in a new country, especially when you're not 100% fluent. So don't worry, people are gonna speak English. I know that many people think that French do not speak English. We don't speak English very well, but most people will speak English, especially if you're young. I think you are. I would say, well, don't be ashamed of your skills and your level in the language. Don't be afraid to ask for translations. Don't be afraid to maybe join groups on Facebook or Instagram or couch surfing. It's gonna make you connect with people, be it French people or foreigners, and it's gonna be easier for you because all those people are here to meet foreigners and to meet strangers, so they're gonna be a lot more open to, you know, your level of French. Also, just I don't know if, I mean, I'm gonna answer that specifically for France and Europe generally. A lot of people think that we are unfriendly. I think it's because we are very cold. France especially, it's a bit of a cold society, but it's not against you, it's not against anyone in particular, that's just the way we are, even between us, even between us, among us, French people, that's the way we are, so you shouldn't take anything, some things yes, but you should not take it too personally if you feel like people are cold. It's completely normal, and you should ask people to hang out. If you don't ask, they're unlikely to ask, I would say. Do you have any tips for a nervous traveler? Tips for traveling with anxiety? Thank you. Okay, so that's actually a video I would like to do because I suffer a lot actually. When I'm traveling, like during the travel, it's usually very fine. I don't know what's happening to me, but usually I feel a lot less anxious when I'm traveling. Now, that doesn't mean I do things I can't do here, like going to parties, shopping is still very stressful, entering a crowded place, everything that has to do with agoraphobia still remains, but I'm more relaxed and I'm more social, I want to say. But for me, definitely planning ahead, making sure I know where I'm going, what I'm gonna do. Doesn't mean I cannot change the plan, but just having a plan makes me feel more secure. Having enough money. Well, traveling with someone, that does help. And if I'm planning on traveling on my own, trying to contact some locals beforehand, be it by Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, as I said, social media, great for that, so that I know that if anything happens or if I feel very lonely or if whatever, I have someone I can message, contact. Thing I have never done, but I think I will do in the future, get the internet on your phone. I've always traveled without using my phone and just relying on the Wi-Fi in the hostels or restaurants. And let me tell you, it does not always work. So if you're with someone, I guess that's kind of fine. And I do enjoy the not having the internet on my phone, but I can imagine, and I mean, I've experienced it, sometimes it makes you feel much more anxious. So having the internet on your phone, having a plan, making sure you have enough money, trying not to arrive at night in a place because that's going to make you feel so much anxious, being calm and gentle with yourself, having people to contact and hang out with possibly. And I feel like that's my main tips. What's the best way to afford traveling, especially if you're going overseas? So I just want to remind people that I live in France, I live in Europe, which means that for me traveling abroad is pretty easy. I can go to Spain, Italy, Portugal, England, Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg without spending even 100 euros if I want to. So keep that in mind. My answer is also taking that into consideration. You have different options. Honestly, if you want, I'm not saying everyone can travel because that's not true and that would be a very privileged and ignorant thing to say, but I think more people can do it than they actually think. Like a lot of people think they cannot travel, they don't have enough money and stuff, but they could actually do it, I believe. Not everyone, but a lot of people. You have to make traveling your priority. For me, traveling is my priority among two things. So that means I save a lot of money. Like I don't buy clothes, I don't buy shoes, I don't buy bags, I don't go out, I don't drink alcohol, I don't buy fancy things. Every month I save some money. In my head, it's to travel. Like in my mind, I keep thinking that's money for traveling. Sometimes, unfortunately, things happen and I have to use this money to pay things that were not planned. For my birthday, for Christmas, for any situation where some friends, family could gift you, I ask money. Yeah. It's not very, like, it's not as pleasant as a gift, you know, it's not personal as a gift would be, but when you're going to be traveling, thanks to the money you've saved and the money people have gifted you, you're going to think of them and you're going to be so grateful. So saving, and sometimes it takes a long time, like, you know, I have never traveled with my family because we didn't have enough money, and the first time I traveled I was 19 and I did it like the cheapest way you could think of. Like, I traveled really cheap, so saving a lot of money, making it your priority, being patient. Sometimes, you know, you're gonna have to wait 1 year, 2 years before you can travel, and that could even be just a travel to the country next to yours, and that's fine. That's fine. Honestly, you can travel and you could feel like, wow, everything's new, everything's different, not so far away from home. And when you're traveling, you have to be smart about the money. Don't go to hotels, don't take the taxi, don't go out. When you're traveling, I travel really cheap. I couch surf, I go to hostels, I do Airbnb so that I can cook my own food and I don't eat at restaurants. I don't visit everything that's you know, on the list of what you should visit. If it's too expensive, I don't do it. It's better to be in the country, experience the life, see 1 or 2 things, than just spending so much money on something and not being able to enjoy other things. I walk a lot. That means, you know, I save on transports as well. I'd say the biggest thing is accommodation, so you have to be really smart about that. And the flights or the bus or the trains. That's something you have to, you know, get used to, like compare them, know when they're gonna be the cheapest, all those things. Okay, would you like to travel to Latin America? Yes, absolutely. What's the biggest life-changing lesson you've learned or experience you've had while traveling? That's a difficult question. I would love to make a video about that though. Okay, the first thing that comes to mind, and that came to mind when I filmed the video the first time, it's the fact that, you know, yes, people are very different. Yes, cultures are very different. And yes, there are bad people everywhere. And yes, you should be cautious and careful when you're traveling, especially as a female. But the one thing I really feel like I always get out of all of my travels is that there are definitely more nice people and kind people than there are bad ones, and that so many people are gonna be happy to just share a moment with you, just exchange with you, just help you. And it's something that sometimes we overlook in our daily life, and personally for me, YouTube also helped me keep that in mind, that there are people who don't know me, who still care for me, who still watch my videos, who still want to know what's up with my life, and who are still so nice and kind, you know, commenting, sharing their experiences and stuff. And when you feel that in real life, when you're traveling and exchanging with someone, and you feel vulnerable, because when you're traveling, you're somehow vulnerable, and you see that people are willing to protect you, help you, save you sometimes even, I feel like it's such a beautiful thing. So yeah, I would answer that, I'd say. Were books sometimes a motivation to travel? Was there ever a place described in a book that fascinated you and that you visited in real? Actually, Kazakhstan. I kind of wanted to go to Kazakhstan before, but then I read In Search of Kazakhstan, recommended to me by a friend, and then I was set on Kazakhstan, I'd say. Japan, not really. I mean, yeah, Japan, it's a bit of a difficult thing. I love the literature, I love the language. Like Japanese, I like people, and then I wanted to go to Japan. But yeah, literature kind of played a role in that. Russia is definitely the one though. I would say Russia and Egypt. I've always wanted to go to Egypt, but lately I've been reading a lot of Egyptian literature, and I cannot wait to go and see and experience just what I feel when I read a book by Taha Hussein or Naguib Mahfouz. and Russia, because it's one of my favorite kind of literature. And when I was in Moscow, I actually went to the Tolstoy's house in Moscow. I mean, he has another house where he spent most of his time, but he had another one in Moscow as well, and I visited it. And when I was in Kazakhstan, I wanted to visit a town where Dostoevsky actually spent some time, but I could not, unfortunately. But that's a good question. I could make a video about that. Would you consider moving somewhere else, and if so, would you ever move to Southwest European countries? Definitely. I'm hoping that by the time I'm 30, I'm gonna be traveling long time or living somewhere else. And your Southwest European countries, yes, why not? Honestly, I'm like open to a lot of countries. Would you ever consider going to an Arab country? I'm Lebanese and I'd recommend going to Lebanon. Okay, funny thing is I actually wanted so bad to go to Lebanon in May, but my sister wasn't sure if she could go with me. I didn't feel comfortable going to Lebanon on my own just because I've never been to an Arab country. And also all the flights were really odd, not practical at all, coming from Paris. And it got a little bit more expensive towards the end when I was checking the flights. So unfortunately I'm not going to Lebanon, but I really want to go to Arab countries in general. I want to go to Egypt, I want to go to Palestine, I want to go to Lebanon. I'd love to go to Iraq as well. I would love to go to Iran. It's not an Arab country, I know, but like it's located in the same area. That's why I'm mentioning it. So yeah, if you're Lebanese, actually, feel free to get in touch in case I'm going and you would have some tips, recommendations and stuff like that. You know, I would actually love to travel and meet some of you guys. That could be a thing, so let's keep that in mind. Have you ever been in Africa? Unfortunately not. I'd love to, especially the north of Africa. I'd love to go, like Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia. Tips for a first-time traveler that wants to go to Europe. Make sure you research the differences in cost of life in different countries, because there can be huge gaps, so that's something you should be aware of. Also, make sure you know which countries use euros or other sort of money. Make sure you check out the buses and the flights rather than the trains, because they're actually sometimes very expensive depending on the country. What else could I tell you? And as I said previously, don't be surprised if you find the people cold or the people not really friendly. That's just the way the culture is in a lot of European countries. Do you like to plan your time spent in a location or just explore freely? I like to plan. I really like to plan for different reasons. First of all, because I'm really anxious and I need a plan. Second of all, because I really enjoy that. I love learning about the country. I love learning about the places, the monuments, the landmarks, the people, the history, everything. I love that. Planning makes me feel excited, makes me feel like I'm already in the traveling process. Now, it doesn't mean that I am gonna do everything. It doesn't mean that I'm close to anything that's not on the plan. Like if something pops up and it's interesting, or if someone, you know, is like, hey, do you want to do that? Do you want to join us for that? I'm like, yeah, sure. But I like to have a plan. Your plans for next summer? I don't know yet, actually. I would love to go back to Ukraine and perhaps Romania. But I would love to do that. But one of my friends is in Australia at the moment. She's not really enjoying her time there, so I feel like it'd be nice to meet up and for her to get out of Australia and for us to travel, because we haven't traveled together in like years. So Southeast Asia would be the ideal meetup location, and I'd love to see Vietnam and Cambodia. So who knows? Who knows? But that's if I have money. You have mentioned Iran a few times. What made you interested in seeing that country, and are you doing a big marathon trip again this summer? Okay, so as I said, for this summer, I'm not really sure. I don't think I'm gonna have like I don't think I'm gonna go through different countries. That's not the plan yet, though. That can change. So yeah, for Iran, I would say definitely the people and the history. Also, apparently people there are amazingly kind. Everyone I've met that's been to Iran told me that the people were so nice, and that's for me a huge thing. Like, that really matters for me. Also, the architecture is beautiful. So it's, I don't know, and also the spirituality. I feel like the history, the culture, the art, and just all the philosophy that happened in Iran, that's amazing, and I love, and I'm so curious about that. I love to have a bit of a taste of that. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Thank you so much for your questions, for your support. If you would like, you could check out my Instagram and my Twitter and my Patreon if you wish, and if you can spare $1 a month, that'd be great to help the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!